Hello, Namaste. Today we are going to learn about Marxism. We are going to have a comprehensive overview of Marxism. So, what is Marxism? Marxism is a socio-economic and political theory developed primarily by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 19th century. Rooted in the analysis of class struggle, historical materialism, and capitalist critique, Marxism has influenced revolutions, political ideologies, academic disciplines, and social movements across the world. At its core, Marxism offers a method for analyzing society based on the economic relations and material conditions that shape human life. So, what is the historical context behind Marxism? Karl Marx was born in 1818 and he died in 1883. Was a German philosopher, economist, and journalist, and he collaborated with Friedrich Engels to produce a body of work that aimed to explain the dynamics of capitalism and advocate for a classless, stateless society. The most significant text includes the Communist Manifesto in 1848 and the Das Kapital 1867. These writings emerged during the Industrial Revolution, a time of rapid economic change, urbanizations, and widespread exploitations of workers. Marx and Engels responded to the growing inequality by critiquing capitalism and proposing a revolutionary path to socialism and eventually communism. So let's look at certain key concepts of Marxism. First one, historical materialism. So what is historical materialism? Historical materialism is a Marxist theory of history which argues that material conditions, especially the means and relations of production, are the primary drivers of social change. Marx posited that human history progresses through stages: primitive communism, slavery, feudalism, capitalism, socialism, and communism, based on class struggles between the oppressors and the oppressed. And next concept is that class struggle. So central to Marxism is the idea that society is divided into classes whose interests are inherently antagonistic. In capitalist societies, two main classes are the bourgeoisie, spelling is bourgeoisie, bourgeoisie, the owners of means of production such as factories, land, capital. And the second category of class is the proletariat, the working class who sell their labor for wages. Marx argued that the bourgeoisie exploits the proletariat, and this exploitation leads to alienation and inequality. He believed that this struggle would inevitably or ultimately lead to the overthrow of capitalism. The third key concept is surplus value and exploitation. Marx introduced the concept of surplus value, which refers to the difference between the value produced by labor and the wages paid to the laborer. The surplus is appropriated by the capitalist as profit, which Marx saw as a form of exploitation. This economic mechanism lies at the heart of capitalist system and is the primary source of class conflict. So the next concept is alienation. Under capitalism, workers become alienated from the product of their labor. They don't own what they produce. Similarly, the labor process such that they perform repetitive, meaningless tasks. Their fellow workers. Competition replaces cooperation. Their own human potential means the creative energy is stifled. So this is how they feel alienated. So this alienation results in a loss of autonomy and a sense of disconnection from society. Next key concept is revolution and dictatorship of the proletariat. Marx believed that capitalism would inevitably collapse due to its internal contradictions. The proletariat, becoming conscious of their exploitation, would rise in revolution, overthrow the bourgeoisie, and establish a dictatorship of the proletariat. So it's a transitional socialist state leading to the eventual establishment of a classless, stateless society, communism. The next, so I think these are the main key concepts related to Marxism, and there are few key thinkers after Marx. Friedrich Engels, he was co-author of many of Marx's works. Engels expanded and popularized Marxist ideas. His book, The Origin of the Family, Private Property and the State, linked the development of patriarchal society to economic structures. Another Marxist, you may say Vladimir Lenin. Lenin adopted Marxism to the Russian context, emphasizing the role of vanguard party in leading the working class. His version of Marxism, often called Marxism-Leninism, became the ideological foundation of the Soviet Union. Next thinker, Antonio Gramsci. Gramsci introduced the concept of cultural hegemony, arguing that capitalist control is maintained not just through force but through ideological domination in education, religion, and media. Another key thinker, Mao Zedong. Mao adopted Marxism to the agrarian conditions of China, focusing on the revolutionary potential of the peasantry rather than the industrial proletariat. So you can see this is how the thinkers were. And if you look at Marxism in practice, you will find that Marxist ideas have inspired several political revolutions as well as regime. Russian Revolution of 1917, if you look, this led to the creation of Soviet Union, the first socialist state. Chinese Revolution 1949, led by Mao Zedong, establishing the People's Republic of China. Cuban Revolution 1959, Fidel Castro and Che Guevara applied Marxist Leninist principles to Cuba. In practice, Marxist inspired states have often deviated from Marx's original vision, leading to debates about authoritarianism, central planning, and state control. And if you look at Marxism in academia and culture, you'll find Marxism remain influential in many academic fields, like for example literary theory. Marxist criticism analyzes how literature reflects, reinforces, or resists class structures and ideologies. Sociology. Marxist sociology studies how class relations shape society and institution. In cultural studies, it examines the role of media, ideology, and cultural production in maintaining capitalist control. And in post-colonial theory, if you look at thinkers like Frantz Fanon and Gayatri Spivak, used Marxist insights to analyze the economic, ideological effects of colonialism. So, this is how Marxism was in practice. Critics have made criticism of Marxism, so no doubt it has a grand influence, but despite its influence, Marxism has faced substantial criticism. Economic determinism. Critics argue that Marx overemphasized economics at the expense of culture, politics, and individual agencies. There were certain failed predictions as well. Marx predicted capitalism would collapse, but it has proven adaptable and resilient. Authoritarianism. Marxist regimes have often led to dictatorship rather than liberation Marx envisioned. Neglect of gender and race. Marxism focus on class has been criticized for ignoring other forms of oppressions. So in that way it has the neglect of gender and race, you may say. So let me conclude. In conclusion, Marxism remains a powerful framework for analyzing inequality, power, historical change, while its application in politics has led to mixed results. Its intellectual legacy continues to shape debates in philosophy, economics, literature, and social science. Whether one agrees with Marxist theory or not, understanding it is essential to grasp the ideological battles of the modern world and a struggle for social justice that continue today. This much for today. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Have comments, your doubts, and your criticism and appreciations of the same. Thank you very much. Bye bye.